Go ahead, Andreas, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for joining this webinar today with Holden. My name is Andreas Funke. I'm the key account manager at AirMaid for Europe. Today, replacing actually my colleague Johan, who should originally do this webinar for you, but he's on vacation, so I'm jumping in. I'm substituting him today. I'm very happy to introduce you today to one of, as we see, most cost-effective air cleaning devices. We are Epsilon. AirMaid is part of it. Epsilon Air Care Group is a global air cleaning company. We are providing customized solutions mainly for industrial applications and for cleaning ventilation from different kind of industrial areas and commercial kitchen ventilation. So together, Epsilon Air Care Group has in total 16 different companies, 7 production plants, 11 brands. We are doing sales in 60 countries. We are close to 500 employees in all of these different companies, and we're doing a net sales about 1 billion Swedish kronor per year. So this is roughly our head, where AirMaid is one part of it. So today AirMaid is in the middle of this webinar. So we are talking about mainly ozone, because that's what we do with our AirMaid generator. First question would be, okay, how do you create ozone in the natural environment? Ozone is created by 2 different things, either through UV light, UVC light in a certain range of 185 nanometers. UV light is created in the stratosphere, in our atmosphere, to protect us from the UV light from the sun. That's one thing, photochemically, so to say. The second is electrical discharge. And so this is through a high amount of electrical energy ozone can be created. In nature, this would be, for instance, a thunderstorm with lightning. It's important to note that ozone is a dangerous oxidizer. It's dangerous for your health, but in fact, at the end, ozone is a molecule made up of 3 oxygen atoms. So O3. It can exist, as I told you earlier, in the stratospheric ozone, in the stratosphere, but also on Earth, at the ground level, which we are measuring, which we have when there is high pollution in high crowded city areas, for instance. There is more ozone created naturally. We are using ozone. You can use ozone in ducts to purify the air, because ozone is a very high effective oxidizer. For commercial kitchen ventilation, it would be to provide cleaner ducts, providing them from building up grease, controlling odor from the cooking process, and reducing other pollutants as well. Ozone is a very powerful oxidizer. It neutralizes a wide range of harmful substances. Other benefits would be, for instance, improved indoor air quality. We have seen this under the corona pandemic, and reduced energy cost due to improved efficiency of the HVAC system. How do we now use this technology, corona discharge, in our generator? Yeah, we have our so-called corona glass cell. This corona glass cell is providing ozone in a very stable and effective way. It doesn't require high power, and there is no material consumption at all. It offers a very simple and inexpensive maintenance. As there is no material consumption needed, and it's a very, very low power only. There are big savings, and because the air is actually the only fuel which is needed. So in these cells, you can see here on the left picture, left upper picture, there's a corona built up, and in this corona, the air which is passing through the generator is transferred into ozone. So this does make the AirMaid to probably one of the most cost-effective air cleaning and traditional PCU alternatives on the market. With the AirMaid, we are focusing mainly on odor and on grease control. And that would keep us our costs low. Independent odor control tests have shown that we can reduce up to 95% of odor with an AirMaid V installation. And we have done these tests on with different QSR brands, McDonald's, Burger King, and also KFC on different installations through third-party companies. And 95% is a very good result. You never can reduce the odor completely with such an installation. Apart from odor control, AirMaid even prevents grease buildup. And this is due to the so-called ozonolysis, which occurs here. So when a grease molecule encounters an ozone molecule, there is a chemical reaction happening, which is called ozonolysis. This is a process where ozone reacts with a carbon-carbon double or carbon-carbon triple bond, and breaking the bond, forming smaller molecules. So it's actually destructing the grease molecules, because grease molecules, in this case, they are typically long chain hydrocarbon with multiple double bonds. And this ozonolysis, this process of ozone oxidizing, is breaking these molecules into smaller fragments. And so these fragments would be aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids. They can then react further with ozone or other molecules in the environment. So this is what's happening here in this, especially in these ventilation ducts, is that you are drying out the grease particles, and it's breaking down these long chain hydrocarbons into smaller fragments, leaving smaller dry particles in the duct, and keeping the duct free from wet grease. Here you have seen some pictures from the Lula restaurant in New Orleans. There you can see clearly clean ducts. So what are we offering here? We are offering for your market in the US currently three different models in these three different sizes: AirMaid 5000, 10,000, and 20,000 V. These models are ETL listed, and they are confirming the standards UL 867. So they are fully usable in the US. For the 30,000 V, which will be the biggest unit, we are currently under applying the UL certification for it. And we have got it actually, so that we are soon being able to market this product even in the USA. Every generator is coming with a single alarm panel, which is controlling these generators. The different sizes, with the different sizes, you can treat different amount of air. And this is how you're sizing the right unit. So you're having, or you need the maximum recommended treated exhaust, what you would like to treat, and after that, you are choosing the correct AirMaid unit, providing the correct amount of ozone to be able to treat. The biggest right now, 20,000 V, is able to treat 6,000 CFM. What is the bleed airflow? So the bleed airflow is actually the air which is going through the generator, which we need to create the ozone. So you can see that this is a very, very small amount of air, of clean air, which we need to provide the correct amount of ozone. So that's always what we need to know, or what our representative or Holden in that case would need to know is the correct exhaust volume of the amount of air to treat. The airspeed would be helpful, and the duct diameter. Why is that? Yes, because we need to know, or we need to calculate the reaction time, because this ozonolysis process, this chemical reaction which is happening here, takes a small amount of time, about approximately 2 to 3 seconds, to be able to see a result. And so this is important that you are calculating this time for the ozone to be able to react with the exhaust air. We would need to know if it's an average or heavy duty cooking, because sometimes if you have 6,000 CFM of air, if it's an average cooking or heavy duty cooking, is very important. So we might need more ozone than we actually theoretically, according to the amount of exhaust air, would need. It's important to know if there are single or multiple hoods, which would probably require multiple use of AirMaid units. And it's also important to know, okay, where do we get the clean air from? We have made a tool for our partners to easily calculate the reaction time, which is very important, where you fill in all this information that I just asked earlier. So the duct, or the area of the ventilation duct, the amount of the total amount of exhaust air, and which would then give you at the end the speed and the actual reaction time. In that case, it would be more than 4 seconds, and the required duct length would be minimum 48 feet. As earlier said, that the maintenance of the AirMaid is very simple. So what you have to do here is spending an average 30 minutes per unit. So you're opening the service hash, the service lid from below, and you would need a small brush, for instance, an old toothbrush, and an old eyeliner, which you drop into a water and alcohol solution, and you are then gently cleaning these cells, these glass tubes, and to get rid of the small particles which are building up by time through this electrical discharge process. Because as we are, or as there is air passing through the generator, there will be small salty crystal built up on the cells over time, which has to be removed so that there is no disturbance in the corona, which would at the end then damage the cell. Instead of the brush, you could also take a cloth and with alcohol. With the cloth, you just have to be careful that you are not breaking the glasses. The glasses are very vulnerable, so we need to be careful when cleaning it. That is actually all. And if you do this at least one time a year, maybe 2 times a year, depending on the air quality passing through the generator, then you won't have any further problems with the unit. The installation can be done in 2 different ways. This is the most common way also in the US, that you are connecting these AirMaid to the exhaust duct, and you are getting the air from the ambience area, from the clean area close to the kitchen. You would need a filter, a mechanical filter in the beginning, so that you're filtering out particles, small animals, insects, whatever. And the second way would be that you, if you can, connect it to supply air from the HVAC system, where you would need a damper to adjust the correct air amount. This illustrates these 2 versions, as of 2 ways in 3 different versions, depending on how the situation is in your system, in your kitchen. The first one, air from the HVAC system connected to the main duct, most common. Also the third one, the same principle, but not taking the air from the HVAC system, but from the ambient system. And the second one in the middle is a bit unusual, probably. You can also, if you can also go closer to the hood itself to add the ozone a little bit earlier. If you have long, I don't know what's it called, the connection from the hood to the main duct. If you have long distances, then it could be worth to connect it here. The AirMaid is a very, very small unit. You can see the dimensions here. It's actually not bigger than a bigger Christmas parcel, if you want, which makes it very easy to retrofit also in existing kitchens. And because of that, also we have to note that as we are outside of the dirty air from the kitchen, the system is NFPA 96 compliant, and this has to be checked with the authorities in the different states and counties. But in general, the principle would be like this: that you have a filter box, you have the AirMaid, you have a connection duct to the exhaust duct where you connect. And before that, you would need a fire damper to fulfill the NFPA 96 compliance. And this fire damper will then be also interlocked electrically with the alarm panel of the AirMaid. The alarm panel itself needs 120 volt one-phase connection and going. and will then be connected with a plug-and-play cable with the AirMaid. This alarm panel is controlling and starting and shutting off the AirMaid if there's not enough under pressure. It's indicating damages or failures, and yeah. You can also connect this alarm panel to an external alarm device. There's a simple open-close relay on the power board where you can connect it to. There's also the possibility to purchase an additional backnet module to be able to get all the statuses of the panel through the backnet protocol into your managing system. So what makes this so different to other technologies available? If we compare with usual UVC units, if we compare with PCU or ESPs. So the AirMaid provides you with constant and effective same amount of ozone over the time. There's no limitation in operating hours. We are sitting outside the greasy airstream that makes it, I wouldn't say maintenance free, but almost. So 1 time a year minimum maintenance, maybe 2 times a year maintenance for 30 minutes each time. So this is as close as to maintenance free you can come probably. If you compare this to UVC lamps, you all know that UVC lamps sitting in the dirty airstream need to be cleaned regularly and need to be replaced after, depending on what kind of bulb it is, after I would say 8 to 16,000 hours, depending on the quality of the lamp. And you have the cost for exchanging the lamp, of course. If you compare to a PCU unit, for let's say a 4000 CFM PCU unit, you would use an AirMaid 20,000V. So there are no filters or consumables. You have only a very, very small amount of power which you need. It's very easy to install a retrofit. There is absolutely less duct cleaning needed. The maintenance is only 1 to 2 times a year. If you compare this to a PCU, you will see huge differences. And yeah. And then the size is the other thing, because you don't need to install this heavy thing on the roof. So the summary of AirMaid would be, what is it? A compact design, easy to install, a retrofit. There's no material consumption. There's only low maintenance requirements. And this makes it a simple and very inexpensive way of cleaning your ducts. In the USA, we have a very broad customer base already. We started, but in Europe, and we have shopping malls here, restaurants, food courts, which are using the equipment for heat recovery, for odor reduction, for grease reduction. In the USA, we have the Holiday Inn chain, where we have a few installations installed, or also the Hilton Hotel. We are using it in skyscrapers. We have in your area the new Microsoft office building, and we have a very strong restaurant customer base with brands which you might know, like the Yellow M in the middle, or the Wahlberg where we have in the US, but also in Europe, a lot of other brands, QSR brands, Hard Rock Cafe, KFC, Burger King. In the US, now more than 500 units are installed. Recently in Newark Airport, for instance, but also 2 other airport installations in Logan and LaGuardia. And hotels, restaurants, bars, shopping malls. So we have an available US customer installation list, which we can provide you with. This is, for instance, in New York City, the Hudson West Kitchen Craft Bar, where 3 AirMaid 20,000 Vs are installed with a perfect result. So again, what do? We reduce odor and prevent grease buildup. How do we do that? Yeah, with a very, very compact design, which is easy to install or retrofit. And why do we do that? Yeah, well, mainly to improve fire safety and to also, which is called happy neighbors here, to reduce odor, depending on where you're releasing the air. And this we do by offering low costs, low maintenance, and even heat recovery would be more affordable with this kind of system. I'm showing you this small video here again to summarize how this principle works again. So the dirty air is coming into the main duct, and ozone will be added here through this small unit. You can see here the corona lighting, the air is passing, and ozone is created and bleeded into the main duct, and then by time, during these minimum 3 seconds, the grease particles will be destructed, and the relatively odor-free air will be released. If you need more information, you can always visit our website, where we provide you with all that information. That was it for me. I hope you could enjoy it. Roughly, it was the first time I had to do that as a substitute, so I'm sorry it was maybe a bit slow from my end. So